Una! Welcome to this very special edition of Ezrema's Kitchen. I'm Ezrema. Tonight we'll be making pizza, which was originally a part of Italian cuisine but is now a staple of the American diet. But before we begin, now for everyone's favorite section of our show, the Romanian Word of the Day segment, which will be bucătăria, which means kitchen, which is the room I am in presently. It doesn't require a lot of ingredients to make a pizza, but here's what you're going to need. First, you're going to need some pizza dough. Then you'll need some flour to help make it easier to roll out the pizza dough. Then you'll be needing some tomato sauce and some spices to add flavor to the tomato sauce. My favorite ones are garlic powder, onion powder, basil leaves, oregano, and you can use a pinch of pink salt. And occasionally you can add an example of some cooking wine to it as well, if your heart's desire it. And then you'll need to top it off with some mozzarella cheese. You can use other cheeses, but I prefer mozzarella. And don't add the olive oil to the sauce or anything else. I use it more to spread around on the pan to make it taste better in the oven and help get it off the pan. There are many steps involved in making a pizza, but first we'll work on the tomato sauce. So you'll want to take your can opener and you'll want to put it on the lid of the can like so and twist and turn until you get that little lid off. Like so. Now you'll take this and you'll pour it into a bowl like this. We have some leftover plain sauce from the other night, so we'll be adding this can to this. Here we go, like so. Don't be afraid to tap on the bottom with your can opener to get some of the last sauce out. And take out a spoon and get the little last bits of tomato sauce out. And now that the sauce has been taken out of the can, it is time to add the spices to the sauce. We'll begin with adding one of my favorites, which is onion powder. And then we'll follow it up with some garlic powder. Now you can do either or first. Just tonight I was feeling called to add onion powder first. And now, while some people do have a measured out recipe, I do not exactly. But I can tell you for my sauce, it is always more garlic powder and more onion powder than anything else. Except for tomato sauce, of course, but out of the spices, onion powder and garlic powder are the most. Now we'll finish it up after the basil leaves with some oregano. And tonight we'll add a little bit of Vino Blanco, Vino de Coquinar from Iberia, or in English, dry white cooking wine. And now after that, we will also add some red cooking wine for flavor. And now that all the spices have been added, it is time for mixing. Alright, to me that looks good enough for tonight. Now you can give it a little sample. Now if you're making this for guests or parties, I don't recommend using the same spoon as the sample, but for tonight it's just for home. So And that is pretty good. Alright, now we'll be working on the pizza dough part. So you'll take the pizza dough, which you can either make yourself or get it from a bag from your local grocery store. And then you put it on here where there's some flour already. Start whooshing it around, getting it flat. Start doing that and that. And you can start throwing it in the air and flipping it around. I will not be doing like in the Olsen Twins movie When in Rome, where they throw the pizza pie and it gets stuck on the ceiling, but be my guest, your kitchen is your kitchen. Alright, that's enough of doing that for right now for me. So now we'll take some more flour out of a bag of flour and put it on the rolling pin, and now we shall start rolling out this pizza. And here is an example of the pizza pie dough completely rolled out. Also, I've neglected to mention it, but you will want to preheat the oven to 380 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, now since you got the pizza dough in the pan, it is now time to add the tomato sauce that we have already made on top of the crust and spread it around. Feel free to give a generous helping of the red sauce onto it. And then just spread it around like so. Alright, now since we got the tomato sauce on top of the pizza dough, it is now time to add the cheese. And we'll begin with sprinkling some shredded mozzarella. I've heard mustard is pretty good to put on a pizza, but I've never tried it like that. So be my guest and try it at your house. One moment, I just need to get a little extra shredded cheese out from my refrigerator. And here you go, special whole milk variety. Now you don't have to worry about mixing skim milk, whole milk, cheeses together. I've never had bad luck doing that on a pizza. They all melt and blend together from my experience. And you don't have to worry about the thickness. I've never worried about that, and all my pizzas have come out pretty good. Now, if you're working at a pizza restaurant, perhaps you might be more concerned, but I am sure whoever orders the cheese will always order the same cheese, same type of milk, whole or skim, and whether it's really thin or thick shreds. But not my business. Alright. That's looking fabulous. Now we'll also sprinkle a little bit Parmesan on. Now, last but not least, tonight as a special treat, we will be adding some fresh mozzarella slices to it. Which you can also get at your local grocery store. And there's no specific number you have to put on. Tonight I'm just putting on a random amount. And if you want, you can always try to make them spell out something. And there you go. There is pizza pie before we put it in the oven. Okay, now it's time for the very last step with our pizza pie. It is to open up the oven very gently and put in the pizza pie. And there you have it. Now that the pizza is in the oven, it will be there for about 20 minutes cooking. And now it's time for the last step in our cooking process, which is to take the pizza out of the oven. That looks nice and good. Take it out, place it on top, close it up, and feel free to turn off the oven now that it's finished. And there it is, our finished pizza pie on top of the oven, cooling off, getting ready to be cut into pieces and enjoyed tonight. After the pizza is finished cooling, you can take either a scissor or you can take a pizza rolling cutter and slice the pizza, and it'll be ready to be served and eaten. And now to top it off, you need something to drink. While you can have anything to drink with your pizza that you like, I personally prefer to drink soda, and preferably cola. I've grabbed a random bottle that has not been sponsored. So what you do is you take a cup with some ice and you open up a bottle or a can, which I have a bottle here, and then you shall pour it in. Let the fizzies fizz out. Add some more. And then if you're like me, I prefer a straw, so I will add a straw to the cup. And now you're good to go to enjoy your pizza.
That means everything was debunked except for the one that... I don't so much get the sense of it as I do what I'm hearing. And I'm hearing, but I'm not supposed to come back here. Keep out.
It's okay.
CJ alert, psychic medium CJ Sellers. Like so. Now, I'm not going to throw it up into the air like on the Olsen Twins movie, but you get the idea.